Happy belated tax day, at least if you live in the United States. And welcome to the latest installment of the one and the only Extreme Anime Radio Podcast, April 16th, 2025. I am JR, hanging out with the mascots tonight in the back. One cheerful, one not. Cheerful, not. And on the other side of the wall right there is my co-host, still prepping for Anime North, Mr. Nef Canuck. Hello, sir.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hanging in there. It's been a long day, which I'll go into in just a moment here. What about you? You got about a month or so until the big con, huh?
Yeah, and speaking of cons, I originally had a deadline for things that was 4 days from now, but they decided to move it up a bit, as in like yesterday. So cue me scrambling as best I can to try and get everything they want. It's a day later than they wanted, but it's still earlier than the deadline we originally had. But I think they realized, wait a minute, Easter weekend, we don't want to do any work, which is a fair cop. But I wish somebody looked at the calendar first when they set the original deadlines.
Now, in Canada is different from the U.S. because in Canada, Good Friday is a federal holiday, right?
That is correct. Federal and provincial.
Okay. And then you get Monday off as well?
Easter Monday is not a full holiday.
Okay.
Like, federal gets it, and most provincial agencies get it. I work for the province, so I get it off.
Okay.
But it does mean that stores are open, etc., which is great because with everything closed on Friday, it's sort of this mad scramble to go, okay, can I survive 2 days till Monday? Because I do not want to go to your grocery store on Saturday for love or money.
Oh, the grocery stores will close on Friday?
They close on Friday and on Sunday.
Oh, my.
That's why I say Saturday is going to be an absolute gong show. And if Mama cannot call saying, I need X, I'll be like, okay, but I want danger pay.
I can understand some things in my neighborhood being closed on Sunday for Easter, but no, Friday is business as usual unless you work in the stock market, then you get half a day.
Okay, that's very interesting because, again, we have Good Friday. It's a full holiday, and then Easter Sunday is the full holiday. But of course, because federal agencies and provincial agencies are closed on Sunday normally, then we get Monday instead. Monday in lieu, as they call it.
Let's see. Oh, I may be mistaken here. I'm going to look this up real quick. Bree resubscribed. Thank you very much. That's what that chime was for. So thank you very much, Bree. I take it back, Nef. Where the stock market is actually closed.
Okay, I was wondering because, there are certain days on the calendar US where, yes, even the stock market closes because, you don't make money on days like that.
The stock market is closed, but the banks are open. So go figure.
How does that work?
So, Good Friday, you're probably right. And then the next holidays are, let's see, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, and the 4th of July. So there you go.
Okay, and for us, it'll be the May 2-4 weekend, which Anime North follows. Is right after, I should say. And then nothing in June. And then, of course, July 1st, Canada Day.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Canada Day's coming up pretty quick.
Of course, July 1st is whenever it falls, unless it's a Saturday or Sunday. Then it gets real messy and complicated.
Yeah. Well, before we get into our tech chat, because I have some show and tell, and Nef has some show and tell, and then maybe later in the show I'll have some more show and tell. But XAR Podcast is available on Twitch and on YouTube and on Spotify podcasts. Just search for the Extreme Anime Radio Podcast to find all of those realms, whether it be watching us make fun of ourselves in video form, or you just listen to us in the car or on your phone or wherever you want to go. Extreme Anime Radio Podcast is available on all of those platforms, so be sure to check it out. So yes, since the last podcast, Nef and I have picked up some toys, and not a big issue for Nef as it was for me, with all the political situations happening in this country, and an interest, and not by me, but a lot of people who want certain things before they go up in price. So, yes, I have a new laptop.
Yes, because certain people are saying certain things, then walking back certain things, then saying them again, then talking them back again. And it's like watching a yo-yo
Yeah.
in every sense of the word.
Yeah. And in fact, the day after we last did the podcast, Neff, we had the change from Nintendo saying, oh, by the way, we're not going to do Nintendo Switch 2 pre-releases in the United States. So the rest of the world, including Canada, is safe, right? But actually, a few days after that, they say, because of the situation in the United States, we're going to delay the pre-orders in Canada too. So how does that compute?
Unfortunately, it's the way Nintendo distributes their hardware.
Yeah.
Because Nintendo does not have a direct line into Canada. What they do is they give it to the United States, who then in turn distributes it to Canada. Sort of like what the automakers tend to do, right?
Right.
They do most of their stuff in the US and then they ship off, what they can sell up here, and we buy it anyway.
Well, I've been reading unconfirmed reports, but these are unconfirmed reports that apparently Nintendo has plenty of Switch 2 consoles to go around in North America. So we'll see how true that is. There's still no word on whether they're going to raise the price or whatnot.
Speaking of unconfirmed reports, several Canadian sources are reporting that Canadian pre-orders for the Switch 2 will begin next week.
Oh.
Now, if that happens that way, I'd be very surprised, because that would mean Canada's getting first dibs before the US, and I find that patently hard to believe.
Well, the way things are going, I'm actually not surprised.
Well, at the prices they're quoting, I mean, I had a bit of a discussion with some people on Reddit who, quoted the most outrageous price they could for a Nintendo Switch in Canada. And I pointed out that, wait a minute, that's with taxes in.
Yeah.
Nobody quotes taxes in North America. In Europe, of course, it's all, this is the final price.
Right.
Which I find much more, straightforward. It's like, this is the price. If you have this money, you can buy this thing. Otherwise, go away.
Right.
But of course, in Canada, for example, we have one federal tax rate. That's what was known as the GST. And then in the provinces that charge their own taxes, they also charge what they call a harmonized sales tax.
HST, yep.
Now, originally, it was going to be called a different word. Can you take a wild stab at what word they would have said first and why that word would not have been used?
Instead of harmonized?
Yes.
Homogeneous?
No.
Value?
No.
So Flax is wrong. What is it?
Blended. Now, why would blended sound wrong?
You're making coffee.
No. Blended sales tax. What do the capital letters of those first two words refer to?
BS.
Exactly, the BS tax. So they weren't going to call it that, but they were like, no, we can't call it that, so let's call it harmonized instead. So it's Canada friendly. Only in Canada.
Something safe to say on the air, I guess.
Indeed.
So let's see if I can pull this up here. So here is a photo of my brand new laptop. I opted for a Lenovo. So this is a Lenovo 5i.
One of us.
Well, what? You have a Lenovo too? That's right, huh?
That's right. I have a Lenovo laptop, a business class, and a mother box is also a Lenovo as well. ThinkCenter Neo Ultra Neo.
Okay. So this is a Legion 5i that I was showing to a few people, including Nef, to get their comments. Nef liked the fact that this computer has Windows 11 Pro and not Home, so that's one positive thing.
Yes, because Windows 11 Home is nerfed in such weird ways. You're like, no, why
Right.
did you do this?
So go ahead.
I was gonna say to get everybody to spring for Pro. That's why they did it.
Right, and actually, a very good price for the money. I got it at my local Micro Center, and it is a 2K HD screen, high refresh rate, a backlit keyboard. As you can see, you can make it into different colors. I decided to split it into Sarah Red and Yumemi Green, and the nickname of the laptop is, I called it SAYU. So I took Sarah and Yumemi's first names and put them together, and I called it Sayu. So this computer is named Sayu.
Nice.
And then you have a performance mode, which can be activated on the keyboard, and that will turn that center power button, the light around it will turn from white to red, and that'll give extra performance there. And what are some of the other key stats? It comes with a 1 terabyte hard drive. It comes with 32 gigs of RAM, and it comes with an NVIDIA 4070 graphics card, so 8 gigabytes, and that's the laptop card that they make from NVIDIA. So yes, I'm very, very happy. Haven't spent too much time on the laptop as I wanted over the last week or so since I bought it, but I was able to finally transfer some of my personal documents in here because once again, this laptop is going to be replacing, for the most part, the one that I have now, which is a Dell G7 from 2018 or 2019. So it still works. It's still chugging along, but I think at this rate, I need a little oomph. So I had been thinking between April and the end of May, when I go upstate for summer work, to get a laptop. And, you know, with things happening the way they are in my country now, better sooner rather than later. So.
Yes, well, I think you just avoided the crush or the rush, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we've spoken about Motherbox. I don't have a photo that I can share right now, but as I said, it's an ThinkCenter Ultra Neo, mainly meant for business, except it has one very important addition. A 4060 RTX, but a full 4060. It's not the notebook class.
Huh.
So it's a 14th generation i9 with 32 gigs, 4060 RTX. Basically, this thing came only with 512 gigs of SSD, but I fixed that with a 2 gig SSD from I'm not telling, and therefore now I have enough space. No, hey, you don't sponsor me, I ain't gonna give you a free plug. So as I was saying, so the trick was I got that done. Now the trick is adding all the games back from Steam is excruciatingly slow because you have to pick each game.
Yeah.
There is no way to say download everything. Now, it does offer to stream from, my main box, which is now my old box. But I'm going, the performance hit I would take, it makes more sense to just dump it on the new one anyway.
Yeah, I've tried that actually between my previous laptop and the previous PC that I had here. Not the same, you can stream and it's okay, but if you're playing graphics intensive games, it just doesn't look the same.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the performance hit, even though I have it's fully all wired, but it's only a gig wired, so I'm like, I don't no.
So is your box a little bit bigger than the size of, say, a 4070 Ti that I have over here?
In terms of the actual size of the entire computer, you've seen my network drive, right? Yeah, you've
Yes.
seen the Synology, the black Synology. That computer is literally that size.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
So it's about 7 pounds, so it's easy for me to move around, which is also an important, issue for me.
Hmm.
So, got everything hooked up, and now I'm going, I need a 4K TV because this thing can do 4K. I'm like,
now I can say one of us, because I got a 4K too.
yes, well, no, I'm just waiting now, and I'm going, okay, wait till this thing dies, or if I win one, I'd change it then. But I'm not really looking just to spend the money just yet.
Right. Well, that's the approach I took with my TV. It was it was chugging along on its last legs. I'm sure I said something about it during one of our previous shows, and then it finally conked out. It's like, yeah, it's about time.
Yeah, well, this is one of the old Panasonic plasma TVs, one of the last ones they made from 2013.
Hmm.
So it's chugging along now. It's now hit 12 years. It's still as good as the day I set it up. So I'm like,
Wow.
not worth it yet. Not worth it yet. It needs to die before I'll change it.
Hmm. Um. So yes, that's my new laptop. I'm gonna I put it on a payment plan for just a little while because I also want to make sure I have enough of a savings ready in case anything happens. So Dave Ramsey follower, I am not, because then I would have paid off the laptop.
Yes, well, I applaud you for getting, and also it helps your credit rating to show that you use credit. And
Yeah,
that's the funny thing. If you don't use credit, you don't have a you have a good credit score, but not a great credit score. And I just find that mind-boggling to me. It's like, what?
yeah, exactly. And then they're like, you shouldn't be in debt at all. And people have houses and stuff. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, now I've spoken about my toy, Neff. Let's take a look at yours that you're literally wearing.
Yes, I'll pull it off my wrist just because. I mean, you've all seen them, right? So I'll just hold it up a bit here. Let's see. As you can tell, it is an Apple Watch because I had a Series 7. Unfortunately, it is now 3.5 years old. What does that mean? It means the battery is basically toast. The price to replace that battery in Canada, over 150 bucks with taxes in, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to
Might as
mess
well get a
this.
new one.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, because I have Air Miles points, which is a points loyalty program up here in Canada, I got it for nothing. Not even shipping and
Whoa.
handling.
Huh.
Literally, I just spent the points and they send it to my door. And because I collect so many points every year, I got it at a lower cost per points than I would have if I was just a regular collector.
You, you hear that, Bree? That's a nice way to use points besides paying for airplane trips.
Now, the trick is, too, I decided that since I have a history of fall down, go boom,
Nah.
and I may not always have my phone with me, I decided to spring for the cellular model,
Right.
which means that, in case I fall down, go boom, my phone is nowhere to be found, I can at least call for help, as
Hmm.
long as I don't smash the watch. But that's an extra $10 on my cell plan a month. But you know what? For peace of mind,
Might
I'll
as
take it.
well. Yeah, exactly. Um, and I was telling Neff, my Apple Watch is about a year and a half old and it's still okay, but there were a few nights over the last week where when I charge it in the morning, like I normally do, that's the routine now, it would show a red circle, which means less than 20% remaining, which rarely comes around. So I got a little worried. It seems like it's back to normal now. So I can understand why there could be, much of a power draw besides what I'm normally doing on a daily basis.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. If you have a lot of notifications on your phone,
I do.
which I normally do, that does impact battery life because you have to charge it more, obviously,
Mm,
right? The
yeah.
more the phone gets hit, the more, it's the same if you choose, for example, some of the watch faces that have things like moving hands
Mm-hmm.
and little animations, which, go to sleep when you don't have the phone up to your watch up to your wrist
Mm-hmm.
or up to your face, but, will draw power, etc., and, cause you to eventually lose. Like my battery health on my Series 7 was down to about 70%, which meant that
Okay.
when I got up at 7 a.m., started my physio,
Mm,
by about 10 p.m., it was in the red. So that battery was not long for this world.
yeah.
Now with this one, with the new one, I'm down to 100% when I start in the morning at 7 a.m. I go to bed around 11:30, 12, and it's still at about 50%. Big
mm,
difference.
yeah. And Bree says it is not good to leave it on the charger for longer than is needed. So,
Well, the modern Apple Watch and the modern Watch OS, what they do is they learn from your patterns.
yeah.
So if you set it for optimized battery charging, what, for example, mine will do is mine will start charging when it gets low, when it puts it on the stand, but then will stop charging until closer to the time I get up. So that
Right.
by the time I get up, it's at 100%.
Right. And I also had something that was active on my Apple Watch in the beginning. I ended up turning it off. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea. It'll charge your Apple Watch until it gets to either 80 or 90%, and then it'll stop charging it.
Well, no, that's another way to do it. I mean, for
Mhm.
example, my car, which is an electric car,
Right.
recommends that with my battery chemistry, you should normally only go to 80%. Right?
Right.
Now, if you need to go somewhere, you can charge it up to a 90 or 100, no problem. But they
Yeah.
say recommended for daily use, just keep it at 80 or below,
Right.
and
And then
then
if you're
start
taking
charging
a
again when you get to 20.
and you get like as you were saying, you take a big road trip, then you would charge it up to full.
Yeah. Now, bearing in mind, of course, that the charge speed between 80 and 100 falls off a cliff, and it takes almost as long to go from 80 to 100 as it does to go from 20 to 80.
Yeah,
And that's
exactly.
to protect the battery.
Of course. We learned that the hard way when we drove to and from Niagara Falls.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. But remember, that particular automaker does have a history of fudging their numbers
Yes.
in many, many fields.
Yes. Yeah, we could open a whole other can of worms with that, I think.
Well, I'll
uh
only say this: the last time they got caught fudging the numbers, it's now taken them 3 weeks since the government caught them, and they're trying to say, no, 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 it was all legit. And I'm going, right. You could have said that 3 weeks ago, and I would have believed you possibly. Now, not so much.
yeah. Um, so yeah, I probably, if this holds up, my battery life I think is down to like 94% on the Apple Watch. I looked it up the other day. So I think it's still in good shape. And maybe when the Apple Care ends, when the holidays come around, maybe Apple will have another sale again, and I'll just go and spend some of my Apple gift cards, buy a watch, and get another gift card.
I was going to say, by the time the holidays roll around, it'll be the Apple Watch Series 11, probably.
Yeah, could be. But let's see. So we got that going on, and then one of the things I wanted to try to do on the laptop was to do some stress tests, which I did. They scored very high in 3D Mark, which I was very pleased with. And then the first game I officially played on the laptop a few days ago, Poker Night at the Inventory. I'm like, okay, why not?
You don't necessarily have to try the most graphically intensive game when you're playing with your new computer. I mean, I'm
Exactly.
playing a shooter game from Steam, and it's just like, okay, I'm fooling around with this thing because I've got a new controller and I'm learning that, etc.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's one of those things where I'm learning this stuff and I'm going, okay. Then the Nintendo Switch 2 comes along, and I'm right back where I started because, ugh.
That one of the things I wanted to see is if I could pick up any games so I can run on it. So I went to Fanatical the other day, and they have a sale right now on a lot of games, as they normally do. One of them was the sequel to Valkyria Chronicles, at least the one that they've released here in North America, Valkyria Chronicles 4. And it was on Steam, Fanatical, I should say, for $9. I think it retails for 40 or something like that. So I have that, and it came with you could buy 5 mystery codes for $5, and I got some very interesting hits. One of them is simulates. I haven't run any of these yet, but one of these games, Nef, simulates you running a card store, CARD, a card store. So you selling cards like Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Well, I don't think they're that name specifically, but you get the drift.
Wait a minute. So basically, you're playing the comic book guy from The Simpsons? I'm like, that's supposed to be okay. Okay, fine. I can't say anything. I'm going, that's not the weirdest game I've ever seen. In fact, one of the ones on my wish list on Steam are on sale. Roomba, First Blood.
Ooh.
It's about you're controlling a robotic vacuum cleaner and protecting your home against burglars. And you can use lethal methods to deal with them. And I'm going, a lethal Roomba. Ooh.
Reminds me of the computer building game PC Building Simulator. I could run that too. That would be interesting to try. I'd have to download Epic onto my laptop, which I haven't done yet. There's another game, Nef. The name escapes me, but apparently it's either a simulator or a story-based simulator. Do you remember that film from the late 1990s called Blast from the Past?
That sounds familiar, but I don't
Brendan
know why.
Fraser?
Oh God. Was that? I think that was that the one he was a caveman or something?
No, that's the one where his family believes an atomic bomb is on the way to their town, so they've evacuate into their bomb shelter under their house and live there for however long it takes for nuclear fallout to pass. So what? The automatic locks are set for 30 years or something like that, or 20 years. Okay, meanwhile, there's nothing happening above them, and they just have no idea.
I can just imagine locking myself into a bunker for 30 years and then coming out 30 years later going, huh?
So one of these games I bought is you actually build your own fallout shelter. That's the premise, I think. And
again, I can't say anything because, geez, there are games I've played where it's like, what? That premise is insane.
So it could be a candidate for a future stream. I don't know. But picking up Valkyria Chronicles 4 made me want to go back to the original Valkyria Chronicles, which came out, I think, over 10 years ago. I picked it up for the PS3, never finished. And then picked it up on Steam, and I played it during COVID, never finished. And that's how I could tell I last played the game, because when I loaded it onto the desktop here and looked at my game saves, they went back to 2020. And so this whole afternoon, up until about an hour before we came on the air tonight, I was catching up, and I've almost catch up to where I left off in Valkyria Chronicles. So apparently back in 2020, I finished 8 chapters. And today I finished 7.5 chapters in like half the time. So I'm almost all caught up with the story. So, if I get free time later, I can continue on with the campaign, see where it takes me. And then maybe I could head over to my laptop and try Valkyria Chronicles 4 and see how that looks.
Nice. It sounds like you have a plan there. Meanwhile, I'm going, okay, at least now with this 4-day weekend coming up for me, I'm like, okay, there's no hockey on Friday. So I can literally just sit there after I do my physio in the morning and go, okay, anime all day. Click, 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 click. I'll eventually catch up on everything that I've been falling behind on in the winter scene and see, okay, now the spring scene started. Let's see what's there that I want to watch.
Yeah, it's hard for me to find any free time to actually binge watch some things. I'm still watching through Hiromaru Sumo with Bree now. And, well, I can't watch Spy Family. We gotta wait until the fall for Spy Family. That's when the next season's coming out.
That's the problem. There are so many anime where it's like, when's the next season? When's the next season? Oh crap, not that long.
Yes. There was actually something, I think, in the last week or so, a new mature-looking Lloyd Forger. I guess all the characters have to grow up, so that is why they're changing his appearance a little bit for the third season.
Perhaps, or maybe he's going undercover again.
Mm,
I mean, he is a spy after all,
yes.
supposedly.
Oh, and Bree brings it up. My dress-up darling. How soon are we to that, Nef?
That I thought was spring, but it might be summer. Now, the manga has just finished.
Right.
Bonus chapter to come, but the last official chapter was released this past week. The author is mean, and I was literally going, no, 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 you didn't. No, 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 no. For about 3-4 pages until, we got past what the author did. And like I said, that was mean because it was, and I'm trying not to spoiler here, a major shift in the paradigm that would have really, thrown things for a loop. And it's like, no, don't do it. Okay, you didn't do that.
Well, something got thrown for a loop at the end of the last season that aired. So looking forward to that. So Bree said June. According to Crunchyroll, it's in July. So yeah, it will be summer when it comes out. So
that's what I figured. Now I'm curious to see how far they get, because like the manga is like, I think they're gonna finish with maybe 15 volumes, I think. But there's a lot of stuff there because there's more exploration of the various different types of cosplay, including with props, including with other more advanced techniques. And again, it doesn't explain everything, of course, because that would be trite and boring.
right.
But what it does do is it gives you that real sense of the growth of the characters and their advancement in their skills. And it's really interesting to see, somebody who has cosplayed in the past. And it's like, yeah, I remember that beginning. I remember that middle, and I remember close to the end when things got really, really complicated.
But yes, it's been a little while since we had my dress up darling, so I'm sure different norms have changed since then as well.
Well, the question will be whether they'll do a simul dub or if they'll wait. I mean, Crunchyroll, I can't really predict anymore what they will dub and what they will simul dub.
Right.
It's like, okay, the big properties like, say, My Hero Academia or Dragon Ball, sure, that will get immediate simul dub. Everything else, it's sort of like flip a coin.
Yeah. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to talk about from Japan, it was on NHK News, which I'm calling it up right here. Yes, Japan set a brand new record for tourism in March, including 2 people we all know.
Well, yes, I'm not surprised. You see, the problem is that now people are searching out other destinations, seeing as how one particular destination is now basically a giant no-go zone for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons.
Yes.
And it's sort of like, this is going to cause, I think, a rather seismic shift. Although there are those in that particular country who are denying reality, and on the one hand they deny reality, on the other hand they're like, come back, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, which is it? Either you're denying reality or you're saying come back. Make up your mind.
Let's see. So it set a record for March, a record for the month of March. 3.5 million visitors in March.
Wow, that's a lot.
Let's see. Which country, Nef, do you think had the most visitors to Japan in March?
Now, if I go by geography, I would think it would be China.
You're awfully close. So this NHK article mentions 4 countries. Unfortunately, Canada is not one of them.
I sort of figured that.
Okay, visitors from Japan, 661,000, which is slightly under another country which had 691,000 visitors. Which country would that be?
Taiwan, perhaps?
Bree gave us the answer.
See, I wasn't looking down. I'm actually looking slightly off to my left because
Yeah.
there's a very important hockey game going on right now, folks.
Okay, yes. The Battle of Canada is upon us, almost.
No. Well, okay. The trick is, should the Canadians win, they will then advance to the playoffs, and we'll have to face the Washington Capitals. Now, the Washington Capitals, who up until really recently were a team I would not want to face, but in the last week or so, ever since the record was broken by Alexander Ovechkin, really sputtered and stuttered like a computer in need of a new graphics card.
So yes, South Korea 691,000, China 661,000. That is the biggest gain, which was from China, up 46% compared to March of 2024. And I'm guessing that's probably due in large part to more loosening of travel restrictions from China following COVID. U.S. arrivals, 342,000, up 18% from last March. And Taiwan was right behind South Korea and China with almost 523,000 for an increase of almost 8%. So yes, weak Japanese yen, probably not so weak now compared to last month.
Well, yeah, because the comparative currency has been doing things. Not good things, but things.
Yes. And there's one other thing that I just found also on NHK, and it's all has to do with one of our infamous terms, activist investing. Don't you love activist investing?
Now, I'm trying to remember under what context that would be, that it would be frightening. I'm trying to remember this.
Activist investors invest heavily in one company so that they can get their own way and make it more profitable.
Oh, I used to call those leeches, but okay, fine. They're now
corporate
called
raiders.
Investors, fine.
Corporate raiders. That is another term. Yes.
Corporate raiders, leeches. Yeah, same difference.
So, so now a good example of that in the U.S. has been Southwest Airlines. They had a minority stake taken over by Elliott Investment, and now they are, really pushing for profitability changes to Southwest. They came to a resolution. They put in like almost half of the board is from this investment group now. And now Southwest is doing away with 2 free check bags, starting with bookings from the end of next month, which is a massive perk that has really been one of the definitions of Southwest for decades. And now they're doing away with it. And they're also doing seat selections and that sort of thing. And quote unquote business class seats where they do like... what's your airline, WestJet, and they block the middle seat up at the front of the plane?
Okay, yeah. To be honest, I have flown WestJet business class, and it's just not the same.
Yes.
I mean, because you're basically got the same seat. It's just that now you don't have somebody right up against you, which while it is welcome, it's sort of like, it's still the same narrow seat that clamps my butt like a vice.
But activist investing goes into the article I'm looking up here in NHK. with Fuji Television. So this is one of the major television stations in Japan, which has been rocked since December of last year with all these allegations of the former SMAP member Masahiro Nakai having inappropriate relations with a female. And Fuji Television has been criticized for the way they've handled it. A lot of top-level resignations have happened, and every so often Dalton Investments comes up with the letter, you should get rid of this person, and eventually that person, whoever it is, resigns. Company with one piece, I believe. I think he's right. And I've noticed it when Bree and I visited Japan last month. We saw some programs on Fuji Television and not a lot of advertising on Fuji Television because a lot of advertisers have pulled their sponsorships. They don't want to be associated with a television station mired in scandal and whatnot. Most of those commercials we saw were for Japanese Ad Council, which looked very intriguing compared to the U.S. Ad Council ads. But there are a few advertisers and sponsors that have come back in, but you don't see it too much. You either see, well, at least to me, Ad Council, promos for future Fuji television shows, and back-to-back commercials with a Japanese version of Colonel Sanders for Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, when you see that sort of a commercial lineup, you know that the station's not doing well. I mean, we have stations up here that, try to sell advertisements for big sporting events.
Yes.
Doesn't work well, so they end up, advertising their own products, etc. And it's like, yeah, you overcharged, and that's why you're, shilling your own crap that nobody wants to watch.
So Fuji's Television said it would reduce the number of board of directors from 15 to 11 later this year. But apparently Dalton, the activist investor, has come out with our own list of 12 board members of the board that they want to recommend for Fuji Television.
Okay, so I've seen this act before. And it's led to the demise of many companies where, the activist investor comes in and says, you know what? I'd like these people to run things. I mean, I can rhyme them off. Sears Roebuck, Kmart, and a whole whack of others where it's like the investor comes in, demands changes, sucks the company dry, and then walks away from the desiccated corpse.
Yeah. Well, Moody's has already downgraded Southwest Airlines. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Fuji here.
It'll be interesting because I'm not quite sure are they as heavily in the stock market as, say, a Southwest Airlines? Like, are they?
Ooh, good question. I don't know if they're publicly listed. I can look that up real quick.
Because, again, when it's a publicly traded company and the activist investor decides to, pull shenanigans, sometimes the other, parties who have stock go, wait a minute. But unless they have numbers, it's all a bunch of squawk and meaning nothing.
Yes. Okay, Fuji Media Holdings. I think I found them on the markets out of the country here. Let's see. So they are closing. This is very interesting, actually. Fuji Media Holdings is trading at 3,200 yen per share.
Okay.
So what's 3,200 yen in US dollars? Let's see. Yen to USD. That would be about $22.50 US. And that would be about $31 Canadian. It is in the last 6 months. If I can go back to the previous page that I had. It was in my app. So 6 months ago, it was at 1,700 yen. Since the beginning of the year, Since this scandal has broken out, it has risen 88% in value. So go figure that one out.
Well, I'll look at it. I'll look at it in the way that they say, okay, scandal broke out. They started pushing bodies out the window, and everybody's saying, okay, push the bad bodies out the window. It should be safe to invest in this company now. That's the positive spin on it. The negative spin would be, okay, we've pushed the bodies out the window. Now we get to do what we want with this company.
Right.
People like that.
So very interesting that is instantly a major Japanese headline, considering that now this is U.S. investment company. I don't have a list of the names, but are they all Japanese? Are they mix of non-Japanese? That's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out.
I was going to say, if they try to insert non-Japanese onto the board of a Japanese company, how is that going to work? Because
Yes.
I can see the Japanese going, no.
Exactly.
The government is quite protectionist from what I've seen. I mean, when there was the attempt by the Quebec convenience store chain Couche-Tard to buy the Japanese 7-Eleven, and the Japanese government basically said, no, you can go eat sushi somewhere else.
That's another thing I haven't seen any updates on. Dalton Investments, I just checked the website real quick. They don't have anything publicly listed there, so I think you have to dig a little deeper to find out what's going on with that. Now, I wonder if Caldeth is with us, because, I have a little show and tell, and I think he'd be most interested in this, because this is something I ordered ago, and I'm going to try to take this out without exposing the shipping label.
Okay,
Hello.
that just sounded weird.
All right. I got a couple of these. And what do they say on them? Can you see that?
I can see the Japanese kanji, but I have no idea what that kanji is for.
Can you see in English below it?
No. Unfortunately, that's not quite. Yeah, I see where you're pointing, but I'm going. It's not quite showing.
If I can.
Wait a minute. Let me see if I look really close. Hatsune Miku. There we go.
There you go.
I look really close there. It's like.
So these are 2 dolls that will join my Hatsune Miku collection, also from Makeship.
Okay.
So let's see which yellow-haired one this is. Well, it kind of keys through the green screen, but can you make that out?
Okay, now I'm trying to remember, because I've seen that character before, I think.
This is Ren Kagamine? Yeah.
Yes, that's, yeah.
Okay. Kagamine Len or Ren. And the other one is Kagamine Rin, which is the female counterpart. Now, there was a sale from Megurine Luca, which I did not purchase. So I won't be getting any more makeshift of these for a while, especially with the tariffs, because these got shipped from China. Here is the other one. Again, because of the green screen, it kind of looks a little silly.
A little? It's like, wait a minute, you can basically see through it. It's like, wait a minute.
So maybe I'll take some pictures of these, and put it up on our Instagram or something like that before. But these just recently arrived, so just taking it out for the first time to show everybody.
Nice.
Let's see. What else? Anything else interesting you've been looking at, Nef, besides anime, manga, and hockey before we wrap things up?
I was going to say, yes, the playoffs start this weekend. So basically for the next 2 odd months between Anime North and playoff hockey, Nef go bye-bye. Not here anymore. Especially because the first round series will be the infamous Battle of Ontario. For those of you who don't realize the reference, back in the early 2000s, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Ottawa Senators met several times in the playoffs, usually in the first round. And every time they met, Ottawa got spanked and sent home. So Ottawa is, talking crap, going, we're going to do things different this time. To which I would reply, what, you're going to lose faster? You can't lose faster than losing 4-0, pal. But we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
And as I was saying, it looks like Montreal is trying to punch their ticket. And as I say, I would be very scared because anybody who comes in 8th right now and has to face Washington, Washington hasn't been doing so good. So this could be still a bit of an upset.
Yeah. Makeshift is going to eat the costs. Yes. If any plushies that are previously ordered, Makeshift is eating the cost, but it looks like they're going to be raising the cost of future items because of the tariff situation. So
now that's interesting because I know of a particular vendor who's a very famous vendor for Anime North, Roni's Collectibles. They also do shipping to the United States. I haven't heard anything from them in a while, which makes me wonder if they're trying to figure out, okay, how can we get the stuff without getting, absolutely bombed by tariffs? A lot of their stuff comes from China as well.
Right.
Like, I hope they can figure out something because again, they're a very famous vendor for most of the cons in Canada. They have done US cons and they're always generous with donations to the charity auctions. So I'd really like to see them, pull through this as best they can.
Right. Well, we'll find out more updates on all this when do the next podcast in about 2 weeks. So that'll put us around the end of April, beginning of May or thereabouts. So hopefully we'll have some better news to share with all of you by then. In the meantime, let's talk about the various ways, Nef, that you can reach XAR.
Yes, you can reach us many ways, one of which, of course, is our website, through social media. Now, you can always hit us up on email at extremeanimeradio@gmail.com or as on social media at linktree.com/animeradio. There you'll find links to our Instagram account, our mascots Instagram account, which is XAR Mascots, our Facebook page, our Blue Sky link, and also our YouTube channel, our Twitch server, and of course, archive versions of this podcast are available at xarpodcast.net or your favorite podcasting platform.
So, what is it? Anthony, one of the artists we work with from Italy, he is almost done with his interpretation of Yumemi as that character from Sakamoto Days.
Ah, yes. Oh, God.
Lu Xiaotang, I think, right?
Yes, I believe that's the correct name. Who has this nasty habit of drunken fists.
Yes.
And again, it's not like she means to, but she just, gets fed booze and oh boy.
So that might be the next thing, unless something else comes up before that. We have a few things in the works. So if you're a fan of this person or this person, be sure to follow XAR Mascots for more content coming soon. But that'll wrap things up for episode 6 of this season of the XAR podcast. We'll have some updates after the podcast ends with regards to future streams. But in the meantime, for the podcast, for Nef, I'm JR. Thanks for watching and listening. And remember,
keep on looking out for the Extreme Radio Podcast. And don't forget our Twitch streams. And don't forget our archive versions of our podcast are available at xarpodcast.net. Good night, everybody.
And don't forget, we're also on YouTube. YouTube, Twitch, Spotify, all over the place. Thank you for watching and listening. See you next time. Okay.
Did you just fall down and go boom?
No.
That's my shtick.
Yes. And you can see the perforation in my chair too. No.
I was going to say, wait a minute, your chair is suddenly split in half. What?
So yes, if you're watching on YouTube right now, we leave this in now. It's what we're doing now with these simulcasts. So this enables our podcast to stay on YouTube instead of us having to wait 24 hours to publish it. Once again, if you listen to the podcast, we still have to wait at least 24 hours to publish that. And the way this week is looking, it's probably going to be Friday night when we publish the audio version of this. I do want to say we're going to continue Tyrion Cuthbert here in a moment. Now, tomorrow's schedule is going to be a little weird because I have a little family obligation. I do think it's still possible right now that I might be able to stream. I would like to try to get this chapter of Tyrion Cuthbert finished before Easter if I can. So tomorrow, right now, we're going to say is at the earliest 7 o'clock Eastern. There's a possibility that it may start later. There's a possibility we may have to break up the stream into 2 parts for me to do my family duty. There might be a possibility we don't do the stream at all. But hopefully by tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening, we'll have a better idea of what's going on. So do appreciate that. If we can't get to the game tomorrow, we'll have to pick it up after Easter once that holiday's over. And Passover, too. It's also Passover. We can't forget that. So, Nef, are you ready in a moment to join the bench of wizardry, if you will?
If I said abracadabra, would you hold it against me?
Oh, no, it's necro. What was the term?
Oh God! Oh,
that whole phrase we were talking about. That's our defendant's arcane. Necromancy. Thank you. Necromancy.
okay, there we go.
All right.
Oh, boy.
So in a few minutes, we will pick up Tyrion Cuthbert and we'll go as, we only got an hour, so we'll go as much as we can tonight. Probably won't finish it tonight, but like I said, by tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, we'll have an idea about Thursday streams. So we'll see you guys in a moment for Tyrion Cuthbert, XAR Podcast on Twitch and YouTube.